So the topic for today is the Silk Route project, or sometimes which is in news called as the Belt and Road Initiative, or Maritime Silk Route, or Silk Road Economic Belt. It is called by different names. So let us get started and try to understand what exactly is this and what are the uh, different implications it would be having for India. So you would have heard of something called the Silk Route, which is often in news. So my the purpose of this uh, meeting is to find out like what exactly is this and try to understand in a broader way. So once we complete this portion, you'll be in a position to answer the different types of questions which can be asked on this. Okay, let me get started. So what exactly is this Belt and Road Initiative? So this Belt and Road Initiative, it is the official name for the Chinese projects for which they are planning to extend uh, their strategic importance across the world, mostly in the different regions of Asia and Europe. So this is traditionally called as Eurasian region, Europe and Asia, as well as parts of Africa. So first of all, we have to understand the geography, then we have to understand the history, then we can come to what exactly are the strategic importance of uh, this particular project and what is India's concern and how we can mitigate that particular risk what we are having currently. So this topic is very important from different perspectives because there is a lot of information which is associated, a lot of places, a lot of dynasties which are associated. So because of this reason, it can be asked in different competitive examinations, either prelims or mains or other any competitive examination. So let us try to address this topic in a more comprehensive manner. So let me get started. So I hope you all know that this is the region, this particular region, what we call it as China, and the countries which are surrounding China. So we can see China is the country which is having the longest land borders and with multiple countries, more than 20 countries, it is sharing the border as far as from Russia to India to the countries, South Asian countries, Southeast Asian countries, and the Central Asian countries. So we can see the Chinese influence is huge in this particular region. And what exactly is this Belt and Road Initiative? Is so China wanted to connect uh, itself with the world because as we know that China is a shy nation if you see traditionally. So it's unlike India, which is having an open border and more cultural diversity. China was like a closed society traditionally, and now China wants to revive its old traditional silk routes and get connected with Europe and Asia. This is what we call it as Belt and Road Initiative. Now this Belt and Road Initiative, we can see it is starting from different regions of China. So we can see the map of China, and most of the development in China is happening in the right side, what we call it as the eastern part of China, and the remaining portions of China is a highly arid region. That is because of less rainfalls and rain shadow region behind the Himalayas. This is a very arid region, a dry region. So with little amount of rainfall. Also, the development is not very equitable in this particular region compared to this region. Just like something similar to that of India, even in India, we will notice that almost all the major cities are located across the coastal region, and the interior parts of country is not as developed as that of the coastal regions, like either Mumbai or Chennai or Kolkata, and the major cities are located in the coastal part, and the central India, the Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, these regions are traditionally backward regions. The same something similar is going on also in China. These coastal regions are relatively more developed compared to this region. Now China wants to connect these regions of Europe and Asia through the lesser developed region in China. So this is what the internal project, which is called Belt and Road Initiative, now which is expanded into the international rings. So let us go back in history to understand when this Silk Road projects has started. and try to understand why it is important for China to get started with this project and what is a concern for countries like India with the projects, with these huge infrastructure projects. Okay, so moving on to the history. So, the concept of Silk routes is not something new. It started way back during the time of Mauryas. So, somewhere during the time of 300 BC, the concept of Silk routes have started, and we notice that since the time, why they are called Silk routes is because the traders from Europe to Africa to West Asia, they started migrating to China in search of the different goods. The most important of the one which is called silk, and traditionally these routes are named after the silk routes. And we also notice that during the 3rd century BC there was the invasion of Alexander, and further later there was establishment of Greek contacts. So we can see that this particular region from China to India to Persia, this is Persia which is currently Iran, and further later this is called as a Byzantine Empire, and this was a Greek Empire, Greek and the Roman empires. So traditionally there was a connection between the Rome, Greece, Byzantine, Persia, India and China. So these routes are a confluence of cultures. Different cultures emerged, and over time, within century, like by 800 AD or 9th century AD, we can see the traditional routes have more or less stabilized. And further later, during the time of European conquests, we can see that the Europeans also have taken these particular routes. And we can see these routes are well established. And it is not only the goods and services which have developed in this region, but also we will notice that uh, it is also the confluence of ideas which has taken place in this region. For example, in your Indian history, you would have heard of the places like Takshila, where the one of the oldest learning centers of India is located. And this is how the oldest cities in India are connected to the Silk routes, like the Mauryan Empire or Tamluk port or Amravati or Patliputra. All these were located or connected to the ports and roads of these Silk routes. Now, this is the historical routes. So, this is somewhere way back in the 1st century AD, and we can see these Silk routes have over time have taken a new turn. Now, this is something the background of the Silk route, and we also notice that these Silk routes have become the places where it is not only the goods and services were exchanged, but also they became the exchange of ideas. Maybe in your ancient Indian history and art and culture, you would have also come across the Gandhara school of art. So this is something which has developed in this region, which would be having the Persian elements as well as Greek elements and Roman elements in its particular art. So we can see this is not just limited to the economic sphere. The trade is not just limited to the economic sphere, but also spilled over to different other spheres like uh, polity, society, administration, and art and culture. We do have elements of all these in India as well. In a similar way, the way India has been influenced by these cultures were also influenced by the Indian culture. Now, this is how we can see that there is an exchange of ideas over time. Now, this is the basic history of the Silk Route, which is having a history of more than 2000 years old. Now, why China wanted to revive it? Now, what is the purpose for China? What is the major reason for China to get this revised? Now, to understand this, again, you have to go back to your geography. Why the Belt and Road Initiative is one of the vital components of Chinese foreign policy. Now, what exactly is this Belt and Road Initiative? So, Belt and Road Initiative comprises of different infrastructural projects constructed by the China, which includes ports, roads, railways, as well as other infrastructural projects. Now we can see that this is a map of China, and here the black colored ones are nothing but the major land projects. All these land projects we call it as Silk Road Economic Belt, SREB. There are 6 Silk Road Economic Belt like uh, Bangladesh, China, India and Myanmar, which is called as BCIM corridor, or China, Mongolia, Russia corridor, which connects China, Mongolia and Russia, as well as China Indochina corridor, which connects Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia and China. And the most important, as well as the most, you can say, controversial of these projects is China Pakistan economic corridor, which connects China and Pakistan. Now, this is one component which is called, the land projects are called Silk Road economic belt, whereas the maritime routes, the blue colored ones, what we can see is called as MSR or Maritime Silk Road. You can see it here, the Maritime Silk Road project. Now, which connects the port cities of China uh, in different regions of its eastern coast to various important ports across the world. Not only in this particular region is called as the Southeast Asia. This is called South Asia, including India, and this is West Asia, where majority of the oil imports come from. This particular region is the Africa, and further later to the through the Suez Canal, crossing the Mediterranean Sea, it is going to connect the Europe as well. Now, this is a huge mega infrastructure project which requires investments of up to $1 trillion. Now, again, the basic question remains: why China is so much interested in developing all these projects? Why China is spending its own money in developing the ports, roads, and other infrastructure projects in these countries? Now, what is there in it for China? Now, the major reason why China is going ahead with this project is not just for the economic reason, but also for its strategic reasons. The major cause for this is what we call it as Malacca dilemma. So, there is a strait which is called Malacca, which is connecting the Andaman Sea as well as the Indonesian Sea, which is crossing the islands of Indonesia and Malaysia. And this particular strait is called as Malacca Strait. Now, what China wanted to do is it wanted to bypass this Malacca Strait. Now, why it wanted to bypass this Malacca Strait? I think this particular picture shows in a better manner the way the Chinese strait passes through. We can see that almost 80% of Chinese strait passes through this narrow strait of Malacca. It's called Malacca, M-A-L-A-C-C-A. If you can see it here, it is called Malacca Strait. Now, this Malacca Strait is a narrow strait where majority of the Chinese strait passes. Now, China is not having very good relations with Southeast Asian countries such as Malaysia and Indonesia. Now, in the case of conflict, these countries might choke this, which might strangle the Chinese investments. And this is something China does not want this to happen. That is why China wanted to bypass this particular strait. And also, China has noticed that there is a huge presence of superpowers like Britain or US or France in the Indian Ocean region. Now, also this would be a strategic concern for China because it might be encircled by the other Western powers, which is not in Chinese interest. Also, Russia is growing closer to the top Western countries despite the differences, which is again a matter of concern for China. Now, because of all these reasons, China wanted to get out of this Malacca dilemma, and because of this reason, China is developing different alternate routes to get connected with Europe. In short, why China is developing all these ports and roads? It is not for the interest of these countries, but for the interest of China itself, so that it can get access to the markets of these countries. Now, we can see the major ports in China such as Shanghai getting connected to the top ports in the Straits of Malacca, and from here going through Indian Ocean and further to West Asia through the narrow Strait of Hormuz, which is called Strait of Hormuz. This is called Bab el Mandab, and further later Suez Canal and Mediterranean. So this is the extension of the projects. But out of all these projects, the most important project that China has got is, we were discussing the China-Pakistan economic corridor. If you could recollect, we were discussing this is the most controversial of the projects. Now, what is the controversy of this project and what is the concern for India? We will deal in the further slides. Now, you have to remember that China is constructing different maritime routes by constructing the ports as well as roads, so that it can have easier access to this one, and it can also come out of the Malacca dilemma it is facing already. Now, in addition to the Malacca dilemma, why China is more interested in these investments? So, as I told, it is calling for an investment such as $1 trillion, which is huge, a huge amount of investments. For example, the total GDP of India is like $2.5 trillion. Now, imagine China is investing $1 trillion outside China only for the development of the other countries. Now, why India is concerned about this? We will come and see it in the next further slides. Now, moving on, the China is also having the concerns where the US is developing different island chains. These are what we call it as first island chain, second island chain, and third island chains. Now, why US is developing this one? So, one reason is China is, as we know, that is a major competitor for the Western powers, including the USA. Now, US does not want China to emerge as a regional power in this particular region. Now, that is the reason US wanted to contain the way it was containing the erstwhile Soviet Union. So, US started investing heavily in these island chains. Now, the first, second, third island chains prevent Chinese incursions into the Pacific Ocean. Now, again, China is having another enemy in the region, that is the Japan, which we know that it is a very good ally of USA, as well as Philippines, which is another ally of USA, Australia, another Western power. Now, all these are major concerns for China, and China wanted to push forth all these island chains so that it will have some breathing space in the nearby region. Now, I hope you understand the importance of all these projects for China. Now, these are like infrastructural projects. Now, what would be the benefit the other countries would be getting? Now, as we all know that the countries in the neighborhood, including India, Southeast Asia, or African countries, they all are requiring or looking for investments. And in this scenario, Chinese investments are the one of the most lucrative ones. So we can see that China has got the maximum forex reserves in the world today. And now China wanted to invest into these countries because this would be an alternate option for its investment in these countries. Now, it is not just having the strategic implication, however, it is also having the, you can see the economic importance of these projects. Now, when we are talking about the projects constructed by China, now what is the concern for India? Now, what is the concern for India is these ports and roads. If you can see here, all these star colored ones are Chinese ports which are developed. Now, if we can see all these ports which are developed across and all the roads which are developed across India, they form like a string of pearls. Now, this particular theory is called string of pearls theory. Now, the concern for India is at any time these ports can be turned into military bases, causing a concern for India's strategic interest. Now, India's security is under threat because we are being encircled by Chinese ports and roads. Now, the similar challenges other countries, other small countries such as Thailand or Sri Lanka or Indonesia also face. Again, huge Chinese investments in countries like Pakistan, which is our traditional neighbor, as well as we are having very controversial relationship with Pakistan. Now, the Chinese investments in Pakistan are viewed with suspicion by India. Now, for China, as we were discussing, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is the most flagship of the programs. The reason is the port it is developing in Pakistan, that is Gwadar, is connecting two important regions, that is the Balochistan region in Pakistan and Xinjiang region in China. Now, the Balochistan in Pakistan is a very turbulent region, just like something like Kashmir in India. Like it had lot of separatist issues and other foreign power involvements. In the same way, Pakistan is also having a region called Balochistan. In the similar way, China is also having its the eastern part of the region called Xinjiang. And in Xinjiang, the most important place is Kashgar. And this CPEC is connecting Gwadar and Kashgar. Gwadar is the capital of Balochistan in Pakistan, and Kashgar is the capital of the Xinjiang region in China. And this China-Pakistan economic corridor we were discussing, the contradiction for India is it is passing through Pak-occupied Kashmir. Now, which is not only strategic and military significance for India, but also it is a territorial sovereignty dispute for India. Now this is why China is being opposed by a lot of countries led by India. I hope you understand like what are India's concerns and why China wanted to push forward this project with lot of vigor and what exactly is the string of pearls. Now this is what I would like to discuss in this particular video. Now just to recap on what we have discussed what is BRI, that is Belt and Road Initiative. We discussed the important places which are associated with BRI, which can come in your prelims examination, like what are the important ports it is constructing in Myanmar, what are the ports constructed in Sri Lanka, what are the ports it is constructed in Gwadar, like Hambantota port is in use, or the Maldives port is in use. So also I would like to suggest to go back to your atlas and try to mark all these places you see in use. So any type of question like arrange these ports in the east to west order or north to south order can be a probable question in your prelims. So I suggest you go through this, and for mains maybe a more analytical question can be asked: what should be India's way forward in dealing with China-Pakistan economic corridor, or what are the initiatives taken by government of India to counter the Belt and Road Initiative. Now these are some other questions which we can discuss when we are dealing with the mains related question. I hope you got a basic knowledge of BRI by this particular lecture. So that's all I have for today. Thank you.